Right guys, so it is the 12th of July at about 9:05. But yeah, today we are going to Day of the Gundam. This is the very first Gundam convention within the UK. And it's definitely the first pure Gundam convention that I've ever been to. So yeah, I am literally about ready to head out and head down there and see exactly what this thing has in store for us. I know they're going to have a ton of Gunpla, of course, hosted by Gundam Mad, who are been in the Gunpla game for like 20 years. They're a great site. They have a ton of stuff. So very excited to see exactly what they've got in store in terms of the kits. But then also they've got some screenings of various Mecha films and such. There's panels going on, which I'll be very interested to see because they're largely like Gunpla focused ones. So yeah, I'll be very interested to kind of expand my knowledge of creating Gunpla, building model kits and such. So it's going to be a very exciting time, and yeah, you guys will see throughout this vlog, maybe me speaking a little bit depending on if I decide to, but I'll definitely try and capture some footage of the event, the various stalls and such, so we'll see you guys there. So I hope you enjoyed that little vlog piece that I did right there. It was a pretty small one. It was just me kind of showcasing some stuff around the convention. But yeah, I wanted to talk more about, I guess, the convention itself. Now, if you did watch my previous video on Day of the Gundam where I did my haul, I said that I would be making this video and I would be kind of talking about my experience, talking about what I liked, some of the very, few things that I disliked and thought that they could have done a little bit better. So now I want to dive into all of that. But first, I do want to give a big shout out to, I guess, everyone attending really for making it seemingly a success. Because from, obviously I'm not on the inside, so I don't know from Gundam Mad's perspective whether this event was a success or not. But I saw there were a bunch of people there. I saw there were a bunch of people buying Gunpla, and it seemed like, people enjoyed themselves. And I guess from a financial perspective, because of the amount of people buying Gunpla, I would hope that it was also a financial success, because ultimately that is what's going to pave the way for things to, get bigger and just happen in the future as well. So shout out to everyone that attended, first of all, but also shout out to everyone who recognized me. I've had like one person recognize me before at a convention, and I had quite a few people recognize me here. So, like personally, that means a lot because it shows that the stuff I do actually kind of means something, and I always appreciate that, like people coming up to me, and I know from personal experience, like seeing people that I might know from online, it is a daunting experience to actually speak to someone. Like I don't consider myself like an unapproachable person, but I completely get the experience of like racking up the courage to actually just speak to someone like that, and just shout out to people who did that. You're awesome. And also big shout out to MJ as well, who I met there. Great YouTuber. Go check out his channel. You've probably already seen it because he has like way more subscribers than I do. Thanks for the conversations throughout the day and such, but also thank you for letting me take some shots of the light cannon and the Gian Hakuji packs, I believe it's called, that you were building. No one has really seen those kits because they're not actually going to come to the UK for probably at least 6 months. So thank you for actually letting me like see you build those kits and also just look at the kits and then take some shots for the vlog. That was really awesome, and like I said, I do really appreciate that. And also, thanks for watching my stuff while I was doing some filming and stuff for the vlog as well. Now though, let's move on to my actual thoughts on this event. This is a small convention, and it felt more like a community event, and I do not say that in a negative way whatsoever. Like, it's actually one of the biggest positives, because it just kind of brought together the Gundam community, which is fairly large, but it's also still quite a niche. So for it to be a small convention that felt quite communal, I thought that was the perfect way to go, and I think it worked very well. It didn't feel too small to the point that there was nothing there, but it wasn't like too big where it was overwhelming. And like it was almost the perfect size where they got everything there that they needed to get there and they wanted to get there. And I never really felt like it was overcrowded. There were quite a lot of people there initially, and kind of it fluctuated a little bit throughout the day, but it never felt too overcrowded. It never felt like the experience was tainted in any way by the amount of people that were there. In fact, I think it was just that much better because everyone there was like-minded, and you kind of knew going into it that you're going to go into this convention and everyone is there for the same reason, and that is their love of Gundam or their love of Gunpla. This franchise is, everyone's there for the reason of this franchise, and that was such a great experience just to be around there. I think even if you didn't do like all the activities, you didn't go to all the panels, all the screen rooms, if you didn't buy anything there, just kind of being in the presence of everyone was, in my opinion, one of the best convention experiences I've had. Now, don't get me wrong, I love going to MCM, I love going to some of the bigger conventions because there's just generally more there, and you kind of get all the big brands there and stuff, and for that reason it's exciting, there's more guests, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of something feeling like it's really bringing together community, this absolutely nailed that. And just thank you to Gundam Mad for actually hosting this and bringing us all together, because it's never been done before in a way that's as substantial as this. And I really hope that it happens more in the future. Another thing I did really like about the convention as well is that it did feel varied. It wasn't just straight up stalls with Gunpla and stalls with model kits. No, there was like other stuff there. There was a nice balance of like almost integrating every part of the Gundam fandom within there, because if you love Gunpla and you love the model kit side of things, like obviously that's largely the focus because Gundam Mad is a Gunpla store. So there's a lot of stuff there and there's plenty for that audience. But for those that like Gundam video games, there was a little gaming section. For those that just kind of want to chat to Gundam fans, there was that as well. There was cinema room with, screenings of mecha stuff. So for those that are more into the, the media side of things, there's that option as well. So they almost like ticked every box in terms of just getting everything in one place. And like I said, it was a fairly small convention. So to get all that stuff packed in without it feeling too overstuffed and kind of leaving some breathing room for people to get around and, like I said, just kind of talk and sit and build some Gunpla and stuff. I just thought they really nailed everything. Like, it didn't feel too crowded or stuffed, and it also didn't feel too empty either. Like, they made full use of the space without kind of overstuffing the space, if that makes sense. So I just thought it was arranged very well. I just thought there was so much to do that was varied that it almost just was perfect in a way. Now moving on to a couple of the really minor negatives that I have. Like, these are more nitpicks than anything, but there's really only two things that I took away from this convention where I was like, they could have improved those things. First one, I think there could have been a bit better signage for the panel and cinema rooms. Now, they were upstairs, but it wasn't quite clear where the stairs were. They were, like, literally as you walked into the, like, stadium place that it was being held at, but from being inside to then trying to look for where the cinema room is, I was like, I don't know where the stairs are to get upstairs. Fortunately, like, someone pointed it out to me, but I just think, like, you could have just had a sign somewhere saying cinema room, panel room this way, and it just, would have helped just a little bit. Maybe that's just me just not, like, bothering to look around the center properly, but again, very minor inconvenience for me. And again, like, it's an easy fix where you just put a sign saying this way, and that's it. So again, that's a very, very minor slight on the show, but at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to say ruins. It did not ruin the event by any means. The other kind of issue that I had was that the film screenings, in my opinion, should have been exclusively Mecha. Now, there were 5 throughout the day, 5 screenings in the cinema room. There was Gundam Seed Freedom, and then Patlabor the movie 1 and 2. 3 of the 5 were Mecha. The other 2, though, were Dandadan First Encounter, I believe it's called, which was basically a compilation of the first 3 episodes of season 1 of Dandadan, and then they had Witch Watch, which, again, I think that was like a compilation of the first 3 episodes of that series. Now, nothing against those series by any means, but at the end of the day, this was a Gundam convention. So at the very least, it should have been purely mecha themed. But putting like Danadan and Witch Watch on, like, I understand, maybe they just had access to that. That's the only stuff that they could get access to, and that's fair enough. But I think if you're doing a mecha convention, if you're doing a Gundam convention especially, then it should be largely Gundam screenings. Because there's many Gundam films out there, and they showed Gundam Seed Freedom, which I was very happy with, but if they really wanted to, if they could have got hold of it, they could have put like G-Quote's beginning on. Or, you could have done some more classic stuff like Shah's Counterattack or Gunwing Endless Waltz. If there's anything that I took away from it where I was like, that's probably the one thing I would have changed, it would be that. Basically, what I'm trying to say with this whole video is that Day of the Gundam was a fantastic convention. I wouldn't say it's like the best convention I've ever been to, just simply because it is very small scale, but I think that's why it stood out. And I've always been someone who's kind of gone to the bigger conventions because it's had more stuff there, it's had more guests and things like that. And a lot of the reason I do often go to these conventions is because I want to meet the guests that are there. And, this convention didn't really have any guests, but it made me really appreciate the community feeling of a convention, which I think ultimately that's what these kind of events are for. Regardless whether they're small or big, it's bringing together a group of like-minded people. And I love that Day of the Gundam did that. So, in my opinion, in my books, this was absolutely a fantastic convention that was well worth going to, just to meet people, just to kind of be within that environment. And also, of course, buying some Gunpla as well. There's no harm in that. But even if you don't do any of that, there was so much to enjoy from this convention. And ultimately, it all comes down to that community spirit, that community feeling of bringing the Gundam community in the UK together. I just think that means a hell of a lot. There we have it, though. That about wraps up my vlog and mini review kind of thing of the Day of the Gundam convention. Before I get out there, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are a fan of mecha anime content and want to see plenty more videos like this in the future. Also, head on down to the comments section below. If you were at Day of the Gundam this past weekend, let me know what you enjoyed most about it. Let me know if there's anything that you would have changed about the convention, or would you like to see more in the future. Thank you once again for tuning into Mecha Chat today, and I'll see you guys next time.